get it, y'all. Make sure you share this out because I'm like really excited about this conversation. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Oh, wow. I'm a little hot. So let me bring my volume down. I hope everybody is doing well. Thank you for joining me on this Massive Action Monday. It is August 1st. Ain't it crazy? August 1st, y'all, we are here. And one of the cool things that I'm really excited about is that we've got IG, we've got YouTube together. And here's what I wanted to share. So I was like really excited about sharing this conversation because there's been a few things that I've learned in making large sums of money in like in a rapid order. So in order to be able to kind of have this conversation out loud, I want to kind of like start at the beginning because I just want to give you like some context before I dive into these 4 lessons about like what kind of happened and what I was doing. What's up, James? Thank you, sir, for being here today. So here's kind of what I want to share. Like when I was building a side business, like, and this is why I'm so passionate about it. When I was building my side business, there were unintended consequences of things that I did not understand. And I'm saying in a good way, right? So what I mean is that there were things that were happening that I couldn't tell were actually like really good things. But it would have been hard for me to know that in the very beginning because, well, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? Like I didn't have like necessarily like, the perfect roadmap that was like, oh, this is what's gonna happen and this is how this is gonna happen, right? So I wanted to kind of like share, like just be completely honest about like sum up in like sentence form and kind of share some stories with you about what I learned. So yes, the title is real. Yes, I did make like 1 month. It was like 56 grand in 1 month. But that's like a portion of the story. So that was, and if I back up like a few months before that, December, I had earned a little over $20,000. January, another 20 to 30. February, about another $22,000. March, about another, no, March was the month of $56,000. So in a span of about like 5 months, I had like my wife and I literally made like almost like $120,000 part-time, by the way, on the side with a side business. So like I'm not like, so when I tell you like what I'm sharing with you today is not like, oh, that was a year worth of work. No, that was actually like in a short run, like a really short run. And there were some things that I couldn't understand before that. So let me kind of give you some context of running up to that moment. So, when you're working your day job, one of the things that I think we never account for is we never account for the fact that you will never be taught or it will never be shared with you how to financially remove yourself, to make yourself independent from that job. Remember when I said like unintended consequences? That was one of the unintended consequences where I started to realize, wait a second. I make great money, right? With my day job. I was making great money. But what I also realized was great was relative to what? Right? So let me I just want to kind of like break this down, right? So what is great money relative to, right? Because this is what I had to start like training my brain when I got around some great people who make a lot of money in rapid succession. When I got around like certain coaches and different people, there were things that I had to learn. So let me kind of share like what I mean. So I've talked about this before, but this was really important when this money started like increasing like just month after month after month. Let me show you this. So let's say right now there's somebody watching and let's say their salary, right, is $100,000 a year, right? Let's say that's your salary, okay? And if that's your salary, that's a great freaking salary, right? Like people, they can live, they can do what they need to do, right? They have some discretionary income, they can take trips. Those things are great. But it's got a mask to it, right? Why do I say that? Because that $100,000, it takes 365 days to make it. Right? That's one. Number two, you only get about 2 weeks of PTO, right? Paid time off for my entrepreneur friends who haven't had a job in like forever, right? So you only get 2 weeks of paid time off, right? Then there's the other factor. So let me share this. The other factor is not only you only get 2 weeks of paid time off. The average person is working about 42. I saw a report to 50 hours per week. Okay. And if we're honest, they're just counting like Monday through Friday. Can we be honest? Some of us are adding an additional, if you're honest, an additional probably 4 hours on the weekends. Right? So if you do the math, okay, and oh, by the way, when this runs out, that's it. There's no more, right? And by the way, the thing that this does not account for is life's interruptions. And so what I've come to understand, and this is why I'm so passionate about like helping people build side businesses. What I realized was all of this is where we're spending an absorbent amount of our time, like when it comes to our everyday world. Now, by the way, let me just be very clear before like this video goes viral and like people pick something apart and then try to make it the full context. I am not against anybody working a day job. Make sure if somebody clips something, they clip that. What I'm saying is, here's what happens. Even if your salary is $100,000 a year or more, right? Like I got friends who are making like $300,000 a year at a day job. That's awesome. But the time that it takes you, the literally you flexibility you have, the amount of time you put in, that doesn't include, like I didn't put other stuff up here, like travel for the job, all these other things, right? Like life interruptions, like things are busy, right? So what happens is that $100,000, especially, don't forget, the IRS wants theirs. The IRS is going to take, let's call it, I don't know, what y'all, 35%? Right? Is that about right? 35%, right? So they're going to take about 35% of what you earned. So here, this is just me. And again, there's a lot of people I have met who have built some really great side businesses. Because what they realized is, wait a second, there's more to this that I should be like enjoying, right? There should be more that I should have at my disposal, right? So here's what I want to show you. When I started that side business in 2018, I was traveling a lot for work, probably at least at the minimum twice a month, and I'm talking about crisscrossing the country. I also had some setbacks though, right? Like it wasn't like things were all good. Like don't think that like everything was just gravy when it all happened, right? Like no, not everything was all good. In fact, let I want to share like some life events with you of kind of what happened. So let me just go to a new page. Remember when I said life's interruptions, right? Let me share with some of you some of my life interruptions. This is what happened on the road to getting there. So there was a couple of things that happened. One, I got married. Be like, well, Chris, that's not an interruption. Yes, it is. It slows things down. All right. So got married, right? We have a blended family. I got 2 boys, right? Like we had to do the wedding, like, and we got married, on the West Coast. We live on the East Coast. So there was all the planning, everything else, right? Got married. That was there. Immediately after starting that business, my mother gets really sick. So we start the business in March of that year, and I'm sorry, actually, she got sick right before that. This is crazy. Talk about picking a time when people say, when is the right time to start a business? There is no perfect time, because I can tell you that from experience. So December of the year before, I talked to my mother on December 31st. And in my world, we go to church to go worship. And I took the whole family. I talked to my mother that morning. And she was good. She was like, hey, I'm going to be hanging out with the family here in Atlanta. And I was like, all right, great. We're going to be going out. And I said, Mama, I'll call you on the new year. And she was like, great. And unfortunately, that afternoon, same afternoon, I get a phone call from my brother. Chris, you need to get to Atlanta ASAP. What is going on? Mom just had a massive stroke and a brain bleed. So what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do? Right? So we literally drop everything. I don't go to church that night. Drive all the way to Atlanta. Get to Emory Hospital. And shout out to Emory Hospital for caring for my mother in a crazy situation. And I walk into a room of tubes and all manner of stuff. Like, life totally flipped upside down. Immediately, I became a caregiver. Immediately, I'm worried about like my mother's affairs. Immediately, I'm thinking, is that the last visual present photo I'm going to have of my mother laying in a hospital bed? That, like, if y'all can understand, like, that was difficult. That was a hard thing to deal with, right? So it's not that it was like the perfect time to like create this business. So if you've ever like worried about like, well, when is the right time? Listen, there is no right time. The right time is the day that you start. That's the right time. Because I can tell you from experience, it was not easy trying to grow a business while I've got a mother that is barely making it. Right? So there was that. Let's see. I've got family situations that were going on. I got 2 teenage sons who are adapting to this world and having their own challenges. And on the outside, business wasn't doing like great things, but it was doing okay. Like it was slowly growing, right? So my kids were, going through just, the transition between preteen to teenager and having to train 2 young boys to teach them to being young men. There's friction. If any of you have sons, you understand at a certain point, there's friction in the house. You just understand that. Like at a certain point, you're like, because they're wanting to exercise their independence, and you want them to, but they don't get to exercise it in a way that doesn't follow the rules of the house, if that makes any sense, right? So we've got that going on. Then I've got what else was going on? The pandemic happened. Right? So then That happens while I'm building this business, right? So my whole point is like, y'all, like, listen, if you think there's like a great time to start a business, there's not. There's no great time. The only great time to start a business is the day that you start it. All right? The only time to really build a business is when you actually focus on it. That's the best time. All right. So I wanted to share that. So that was life's interruptions for me. Right? So no, there was nothing like, oh, it was just all roads were just perfect to build this business. That's not true. It's not true at all. That's not how it happened. All right. So let me share with you guys the 4 lessons that I learned. I want to give you these 4 lessons because I really personally believe that, like, when we think about life and we think about, like, wow, how in the world was he able to do that? What was going on? I want to help you with these 4 lessons real quick. This is the first lesson. Here's the first lesson. Let me just put 4 lessons up here. This is the first lesson. The first lesson is it's hard to get there. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, it's really hard to get there. And that might sound like a duh, Chris. I know that. Like, but let me give you the B part of that. Stick with it. I'm going to tell you right now, before we ran into this like 4 or 5 month stretch of like just a side business that we were building part-time, making like almost $150,000 in like 5 months. The crazy part was, like, it was moving, but we didn't have any like big spikes. It was just slowly progressing, right? The business is growing. There was a lot of sacrifices, in the evenings, right? We gave up a lot. My wife and I, like, date nights, time with our kids. There was a lot. I'm just sorry. There was a lot. Days I just did not want to pick something that was responsible for the logistics of running a business, right? Like, I just didn't, right? I didn't commit to myself in my fitness journey as much. I was doing it. I wasn't as committed, though, if you can understand what I'm saying. Because we were in a trajectory of building this business. And as we were building, it was like, well, there were other things that were coming up. Because here's the thing that you learn as you go. One of the things that you learn is the more problems or the more solutions you create for people, the more problems pop up, right? So you find yourself, like, when business starts on a growth curve, you find yourself at the intersection of, like, I found something that works, but now there's more problems, right? So it's this really interesting X, right? It's like, these are the problems, and this is the solution, right? But the first solution that you found, I'll just call it the first solution, meets these other problems, and they all meet right here. And you find yourself right there a lot, right? Like, you kind of find yourself in that, like, over and over and over and over and over again, right? So anyway, that's the first lesson. It's hard to get there, but stick with it. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I learned things about myself that I don't think I would know any other way. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. There was a month where we didn't hit a goal we had. We had a goal of building out we were building out a leadership team, and if we built it out the right way, and we were helping somebody else build their business, it was a good chunk of change that month. Like, we were in a good space, right? And I remember I was out of town. My wife was kind of running the business while I'm away, because I'm at work, and I've got trainings and stuff to do. Like, I'm busy with work. And I was out of town. I think I was in like Minneapolis or something. I'm in Minneapolis, and the entire time I'm giving this training at work, I promise y'all, like, it's so terrible to say out loud, but all I could think about was, did we hit our goal? Like, that's all I could think about. Like, I'm not checking my phone, but I'm looking at my watch like, man, I wonder if, man, did we hit it? Did we hit it? And I remember getting out of the meeting. I saw my wife's text and she said, hey, give me a call. I had a break. I run out, give her a call. I'm like, honey, how did we do? She's like, babe, we missed it. And I'm like, oh man. Like, and it was pretty significant because had we hit our goal, we would have had a very nice chunk of change. And we missed it. We didn't get it. And the reasons why we didn't get it was absolutely insane, but we didn't get it. And I remember the gut punch in my stomach going, you gotta be kidding me. Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, we did all of that work. Like, I sacrificed a lot while I'm away, when I'm at home, all of that in order to be able to, like, and we didn't reach our goal. Like, I was devastated. This is before the run, but I was like stunned. So of course, hang up the phone with my wife, and I go back to work. I probably didn't give them my best, just to be honest with you, just because I was done. I was so frustrated that day, but I'm glad I stuck with it. Like, I didn't quit because we had some lapses. Like, I'm glad, and the reason I'm glad I stuck with it is because I've been proving to myself every day with sticking with the business that you can do the hard things. That's why I'm glad I stuck with it, right? I'm glad that moment of not hitting our goal didn't turn into like this downward slope, meaning me emotionally, like, right? That was another thing I learned about myself. I learned about myself from an emotional standpoint. Like, I let my emotions determine my actions. You heard what I just said? How many of you are letting your emotions determine your actions, right? Like, I was allowing that to happen. And eventually I had to learn how to regulate my emotions. Yeah, I'm upset, but I still got work to do. I'm disappointed, but I got to go make this next phone call. I'm not happy with what happened, but I got to keep leading the team, right? So that was that. So here's the second. This leads to my second one. The second lesson that I learned was so powerful. And I'm telling you right now, most of you know this, but you're part of the system. And my second lesson was systems outweigh talent every day of the week. Systems outweigh talent every day of the week. How do we know this? Y'all, if you work your day job right now, no matter what your title is, you're in a system. And that system has enough people in it and enough people clamoring to be in the system that when they let you go, or if they let you go, they can literally replace you tomorrow. I don't care what your title is. I don't care if you've been there 27 years, or you've been there 7 years, or you've been there 7 months, or you've been there 7 minutes. Doesn't matter. They can let you go. I remember being laid off the second time in my corporate job while I'm out of town for the job, delivering on a big project worth millions for the company, standing in front of executives, the same executives who immediately would let me go right after the meeting. I remember that feeling. I remember everybody clapping. Everybody's excited. Everybody was so happy that the project was done. Man, Chris, you did an awesome job. Thank you for helping us. Thank you for getting there. And then walking into another office only to listen to my manager say, effective immediately, we're letting you go. Please leave your stuff. Don't go to the next meeting. Drive home. I'm 2.5 hours away. And I can bet you this, within a day or so, they had a replacement for me because I was a part of the system. And I'm telling you right now, one of the things that I learned in building a side business is that you need systems. And by the way, you have to get good at paying attention to systems. That's the only thing that makes It's the only thing that makes a business scalable. Like, you have to get really good at paying attention to systems. I'm talking about in your everyday life, just go pay attention to systems. What is the system for the trash on your street? It's once every week, right? What day is the trash run, right? Everybody is playing with the system. I get my trash out, like in our neighborhood, get trash out on Sunday to the street. They pick it up, they take it, right? What's the system for getting your clothes cleaned? What's the system for at your job, right? How do people get hired? What is the process? What is the procedure? What is the system that you guys use to do your day job? My point is, some of us are so busy in so many systems, we're not paying attention to the systems, and we're not learning about the systems and how they work, why they work, what makes them work, right? What makes them crash? And the more you actually start focusing on systems, I promise you, if you got a really good system, it won't matter who you plug in to the most degree, right? Like, some people are just, terrible at a particular job and they need to be moved around. But for the most part, if you can find a really great system, that makes success for that particular business go up exponentially. And we found a really great system. That was it. Like, there's nothing. It's not about Chris and Tamara or like just these rock stars, even though I feel like we are, right? Like she's my rock star, right? But my point is that, like, even without us, the system still works. Chris and Tamara could go away and the system still works. And when you find something like that, that's how you got to evaluate whether or not it's worth your time building that business. Is there a system in place? And if there's not a system in place, are you up for the challenge? Are you up for the challenge of building a system that can help grow that business? That's the only two options you have, right? Otherwise, you're trying to start a side business as a taskmaster, and you will create yourself a second job. That's what my wife says all the time. She said at some point, 13 years building this business, she was like, I realized all I did was make myself another job. Because we think as taskmasters, oh yeah, let me just go make another, I can go start this business. And all you did was take your task-driven self from your day job and try to go create a business around it. And now you're frustrated and you're wondering why you want to quit. Well, because you didn't think in systems, you thought by task. Well, I can do that task for 10 people. Where you doing the same task for 10 people, there's capacity. And you run out. You can't scale you. You can always scale a system, right? So that was number 2. Systems, I'm telling you right now, outweigh talent every day of the week. Number 3, this one's hard. This one's hard to deal with. And I'm still learning this because I don't think I won't say I haven't mastered it yet. I'm just learning about it, right? So number 3 is you will lose something. I promise you that. You're going to lose something on your way. But what you find is greater. I'm telling y'all right now, I lost something. I lost something. Yep. I lost something, y'all. I did. I lost something. I lost a portion of myself in building this business that I don't want back. I lost the lazy portion of me. I lost the comfort side of me. I lost the ability to make a lot of excuses. Y'all, I'm telling y'all right now, this is one of the best lessons. If you don't hear nothing else I say today, you will lose something in building a great business. But what you find is 100% greater. But a lot of us aren't willing to lose to gain. Sounds cute when you're talking about it from a gym perspective, right? Oh, I want to lose, like I lost 65 pounds, right? Gain a little bit of muscle. Oh, that's cute. What happens when you lose your identity of being codependent on so many other people monetarily? What happens when you lose the anonymity of being in the system and being able to blame in other people for why something didn't work, and that's why you couldn't do it. Well, now you're the leader of the company. And there are other people looking to you. And everyone else is saying, hey, if this doesn't work out, it's your fault. How about that? Right? I lost something, y'all. And I promise you, you will lose something in building a great business. But what you gain is far greater. I gained a better self-respect. I gained a better discipline. I gained a better focus. In fact, I gained better friendships. How about that? Which leads me to number 4. That leads me to number 4. Number 4 is, well, this is what's crazy. You need new challenges and friends. It's inevitable. Go talk to anybody who's built anything. I promise you this. They ended up with a whole new set of friends and a whole new set of people that they had to deal with. They had to change their circles. I bet you they had to learn some things. I bet you that the same people that they came in the game with, they had to probably love some people from a distance, right? I can only take you in short doses now. Because of number 3, I promise you, if you really want your business to work, if you really want that side business to be all it is, you're going to have to lean into it, but you're going to lose something. But what you gain, I promise you, is far greater. Like some of us quit too early. So if you stick with it and get through that moment and push past, just on the other side of that quitting is the side of you that has resolve. See what I'm saying? It's different on the other side, but you got to stick with it. But you're going to lose something in the short term and in the long term. You're going to lose the version of you that everybody knew. And that sucks. Because you will lose your ability to relate. Because now you're making money. Y'all, I'm telling y'all, man, listen, when I learned this stuff, it messed me up. Yeah, you're going to lose your ability to relate. At a certain level, you won't make sense to people anymore. Sorry, you just won't. There'll be a certain group of people that when you start talking, it sounds like pie in the sky or gibberish, or it sounds like you're lying. You'll get around certain family and certain friends, and you have very little to say, and you'll spend your time asking more about them because what you have to talk about and what's going in your mind right now is different. You're going to lose something, but I promise you what you're going to gain is far greater, right? And you need new challenges, but you're also going to need new friends. You're going to need new friends. You're going to need people that don't let you get comfortable with a $56,000 a month. Yeah, I said it. You're going to need people who don't let you get comfortable with a $56,000 a month, with a $100,000 a month, with a $300,000 a month, with a $600,000 a month. Yeah, you're gonna have to be around people that is a normal day, or that's low for them. Because if you decide to get comfortable when these things happen, as hard as it was to get it, it's going to feel even harder when you fall apart because you feel like you've arrived and you haven't. All you had was a spike in the business. That a business long-term has seasons. There'll be dips too. You might be negative 56,000. Right? So my point is that like if you got to change your circle. You got to be around people that's normal. But they're striving for more. They're saying, no, this ain't it, right? My life doesn't end here because I made it that much in a month. No, it's just one of the many steps I'm on the way to, right? So these are the 4 lessons, man. This is what I learned. Number 1, it's hard to get there, but stick with it. You need to. Number 2, systems outweigh talent every day of the week. I promise you that. Number 3, this is one of the most powerful lessons that I am learning and still chewing on. You will lose something, but what you gain is going to be far greater. And number 4, you need new challenges and friends, because that's the only way you're going to continue to grow. That's the only way you're going to continue to grow. Okay? So listen, thank you so much for tuning in to Massive Action Monday. Here is my objective for you on Massive Action Monday. It's August 1st. What I want you to do is, I want you to post your own video and tag me and tell me what lessons you've learned from either your biggest highs or one of your lowest lows. Post a video about it. Let's talk about it. Let's start normalizing these discussions, because people make them so secretive. And I'm telling you right now, I think we need to educate each other more. We need to know that we've had these moments, right? We need to be able to have honest conversations about them too, right? So go post a video, tag me, right? Let me know. And number 2 is for Massive Action Monday this week, not next week, not next year. Don't worry about all of that. This week, start making progress on going to find and improving the systems around you. All right? I promise you, it makes your life better. You're going to have to invest, but that investment will give you a better return than you ever could imagine. All right? Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in live. Man, thank you for being here for Massive Action Monday. Thank you for showing up for yourself. This is Chris Williams with the Grow Your Side Business podcast, the #1 podcast for corporate professionals learn how to grow a side business faster. If you have not subscribed yet, why? I don't understand. We're here every Monday. I got plenty of content for you. Subscribe right now on YouTube. You can find me on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, you name it, wherever you get your ear hustle on. Just go subscribe now and then share this podcast with other people that you care about as well, who are also growing a side business. Thank you so much. Have a great, incredible day. I'll see you in the next video.